Hello everybody, I'm Robin, live in Edinburgh, Scotland. I thought I'd share some of the information about the Ford Ranger pickup truck I have. So this is a 2019 Ford Ranger. It's one of the run out models before the facelift came in early 2019. So it's a 3.2 litre 5-cylinder diesel, Wildtrack specification. So currently done 20,000 miles. It's got the back box on. Modifications are fairly light. It's got a bonnet protector. It's got some hydraulic supports on the tailgate to stop it dropping down. A few minor tweaks, such as the air deflectors on the front windows, but fairly standard. Purchased it fully loaded, so it's the top specification you can get in the UK without going to the Raptor. It's got a few optional extras, so the tow bar or hitch as it'd be called in the US, box on the top. It's got front parking sensors which are an option, and an additional power socket in the back. But all in all, as a business work vehicle, pretty good. So the engine is different from what you'd get in the US and Canada. So it's a 3.2 litre Duratorque diesel, so the TDCI. Fairly good engine, unusual in that it's a 5-cylinder. Puts out 200 horsepower, so 147 kilowatts. Fairly torquey, 470 newton meters. Or roughly 347 pound-feet of torque, so it pulls fairly well. Some of the design features are quite nice, so you can easily clip off the air filter, push it off if needed if it gets too dusty. So easy to do, sits quite high. So the wading depth is 800 millimeters, which is good. And that's something in Scotland where we've had a little bit of localised flooding, really quite useful. You can see all the electrics are protected, cabling's protected, so quite good. In terms of performance from the engine, it's flat out about 109 miles per hour, so 175 and it'll hit 62 miles an hour in 10.9, so not a fast truck but not slow. Once it's rolling, it keeps up with the traffic without any trouble at all. In terms of modifications, there's no modifications to the engine, other than it's got a K&N long life air filter on. Ground clearance on the car sits at 229 millimeters, about 9 inches. Pretty good. A lot of what we have in Scotland are bad rutted potholed roads, so it copes with those without any trouble at all. Ice and snow so far seems to not be a problem. In terms of overall capability, so approach and departure angles on the truck are both 28 degrees. I'd probably expect the tow bar setup and the step to catch first at the rear. Breakover angle 25 degrees, it's got a standard side step. And tilt angle, it'll cope with about 35 degrees. So these are the wheels, so Continental Cross Contact LX. So they are mud and snow rated, but heavily biased towards the road. It's a standard 6 stud. So far the tyres have been on since new, and have done about 20,000 miles. So I would say they're probably about a third to half worn, so not bad. The wear's pretty even front to back, left to right, so not too bad. Before the Scottish winter comes, we'll have to have a new set. So this is a standard tow bar that we'd get in the UK. So on this Ranger it can tow 3,500 kilos, so about 7,700 pounds. Unbraked trailer about 750 kilos, so about 1,650 pounds, so fairly standard. The step is an addition that was put on just for our convenience. Inside the truck is pretty nice, but quite car-like. In terms of efficiency, quite good. Considering it's quite a large vehicle, you know, the fuel consumption sitting at 29.7 since the car was new, and currently it's done 19,968 miles, so nearly 30 miles per gallon for its 20,000 mile life so far. Satellite navigation in the system, Sync 3, so pretty good. Syncs up with my Samsung phone pretty well. Sound quality is pretty good, use it a lot when driving, and overall it is quite a comfortable, pleasant place to be, especially on long journeys. A couple of things that stand out to me: glove box has got no light, different from any other vehicle I've had, but doesn't really bother me. Electric windows, no fully auto down on the passenger side, which does seem a little petty. Controls can be a little fiddly sometimes, and I tend to use the controls here rather than on the screen, but not the end of the world. 4-wheel drive change on the fly, so 2 high, 4 low. Have to stop to go into 4 low, 4 high, no such issue. It hasn't got any of the newer features like the off-road cruise control type systems, but it does have hill descent, so pretty good. Leg space in the rear is very good, and the seats are quite upright, which makes them comfortable. Don't often have people in the back, but when I do, it's quite comfortable. These are additions that I've put on, so sometimes you don't want things rattling around in the back, and the back is pretty big, so you can add bags onto these. So you can see I had my coat on there, and it's a little bit different from the actual hooks in the back, so they don't block the window in the same way. Cubby holes in the back are good, and cup holders and seat pockets at the moment, all equipped with gloves and antibacterial, antiviral wipes. So this is the rear cover, so it's an Aero class rear cover, generally being pretty good. Does leak a little bit over on the left, but not too bad. In the rear it has got a liner in, it's got a carpet cover. Most of what I carry tends to be in plastic boxes, so it does tend to stay fairly clean. The side windows open, which is fairly good if the back gets too hot, and generally the Aero class cover's been okay. Some problems with the opener in winter where it wasn't opening first time, but generally okay. For the actual tailgate, it's got the supports, they've been added because otherwise it just drops and it's pretty heavy, and you'll see little things like wading depth added just in terms of how deep 800mm actually is. Add blue tank, spare wheel, differential solid rear axle, drum brakes left and right, main fuel tank, prop shaft, gearbox, independent front suspension, drive shafts, brake linings, main chassis, running boards, mud flaps. Rear differential, exhaust exit in front of the axle, didn't know that. Leaf spring 1, leaf spring 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves, mud flaps, damper, so the car during its 20,000 miles has been quite reliable. We had one significant issue which you'll see in a moment, and that's where a lot of electrical warning lights came on. It's a hill descent, traction control, stability control, all failed. It lost 2 working days as a consequence of the issue, and the dealer did fix it as a warranty fix. What they said is the rear suspension had been impacting the rear cabling loom, because initially the cabling loom wasn't the correct length, so it was a little bit short, so it was a little bit tight, and when impacted by the rear suspension actually caused a breakage. It was fixed initially as an interim repair, and then the loom was replaced, so 2 working days lost. So quite a significant failing, but other than that the vehicle's been pretty reliable.